Hello internets, JM Frey here again. Time for another vlog. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how and why libraries are important for an author's career. Of course, we all know that libraries are important for happy, healthy communities. They offer free books for people to borrow, but more than that, they also offer use of equipment like printers and fax machines and photocopiers. They offer access to computers and online programs and the internet, which people may or may not be able to afford. Some also offer toy rentals or equipment rentals or baking equipment rentals or power tool rentals, which I think is super cool. And of course, all the amazing events and community calendar things that libraries spearhead and host. So first off, yay, everybody loves libraries. Please always continue to fund libraries. This is my plea to everyone out there. Go to your local library, use it and love it, and hug a librarian if they give you permission to hug the librarian. But more than that, well, on top of all of that, libraries are also extremely important to an author's career. Why? I mean, you might say, why would you want your book in a library? Because if people buy your book from the bookstore, then don't you make more money? Well, yes, as an author, I kind of do make more money if people buy my books, but also no, and I will get to the reason for that later. But first and foremost, as a writer, I want readers to be able to read my stories. For me, the most important part about being an author is getting my stories out there and having them affect people and having people be able to access them. So my number one desire as a writer is to let people read my books or to have people read my books. And the best way for people to do that is to borrow them from the library. So having paperback copies or e-copies available to be loaned in the library is extremely important for me as an author, as an artist, and yes, also as a small business owner. Small business being, of course, author. Yeah, the number one reason authors need libraries is because people want to read the books. If people watch an interview or hear an interview or read an interview about the book, we want our books to be available. If there's a lot of word of mouth going around about our books, I can guarantee you that some of the people who are hearing about these books will go, oh, I would love to take that out of my local library instead of just buying it. I mean, people can't afford to buy books. Books are a luxury item. They really are. Books are a luxury item. So being able to buy a book is a luxury. Not everybody has the ability to buy books or to buy ebooks. So having our books available to people who can't afford them or who, for lifestyle reasons prefer not to have paper books cluttering up their house. Although I personally don't understand those people, I like seeing all my books up. It's like my dragon hoard of stories. But people have different desires. So for people who choose not to buy books, libraries are also the number one way for them to get access to new work. But more than that, having my work in my local library also means a lot for my community because they're supporting a local author, but in seeing that someone from this community has published a book, I'm also inspiring future authors. I remember being in high school and going to the local author shelf and going, wow, look at this. All of these people live in my community. I can access them. I can find them through a community event or maybe the phone book, or more likely through their websites and their emails, and I can talk with these people. These are people that I can engage with. I think, for me, one of the most important moments in my journey towards authordom is when children's illustrator and picture book writer Werner Zimmerman came to our school, and I met a real-life author, and he lives in this area. And later, when I published my first novel, I sent him a copy of that. We've actually had the opportunity to speak before then. We've passed emails and letters back and forth. So having maybe not so much a mentor, but a mentor available to me, but a source of inspiration available to me was extremely important. So having my book up on a local author shelf in my community really means a lot to me and to the people who are looking at being authors around me. It also helps librarians understand what the new trends and desires are. So if my book comes into the library, they might notice, oh, there seems to be an upswing of interest in stories, meta-fictional novels, or fantasy is getting big again. So it helps them understand what the trends are and make sure that their shelves are populated in such a way that they have everything that they're going to need, especially if someone comes in and says, oh, I'm hearing a lot of, word buzz for this new J.M. Frey novel. You might want to get 3 copies because, if it wins the, I don't know, let's say the Giller. Not that I think I would ever win the Giller. I don't think I'd even qualify. I'd love to qualify for the Giller, but my work's a little bit too to qualify, I think. But the point being, if the book is nominated for an award, there's going to be higher demand for it at the library. So it also sort of gives the librarian a heads up. And it gives them the ability to make up really interesting shelves, like read these award winners, or read these award-nominated books, or loved this award-nominated book, try this award-nominated book. So it gives them the opportunity to help people find new work and new authors to love. And then now going to the payment part, which I promised you. In Canada, there's something called the Public Lending Rights Fund. And what this is for every copy of my eligible books that are found in public libraries across Canada, I, as an author, get a certain percentage of a pool of funds. So I can't tell you the exact math, but I know for a fact that around this time every year, I get mailed my public lending rights check. And that amount of money is sort of what makes up for the lack of royalties on those books. So the assumption is, if my book exists in the library, it's the equivalent of X number of reads of that book, or X number of purchases of that book. So the Public Lending Rights Fund helps authors remain financially afloat by paying them royalties, more or less, on books that weren't sold because the book was in the library, which I think is amazing. Thank you, Canada Arts Council. Thank you, Government of Canada, for this. This is an incredible fund because it means that authors like me, authors all over Canada, are still getting royalty checks even if people aren't buying our books. And this is extremely important because it allows the public to read our books without having to pay for it if they can't afford to buy the book, and yet still funds artists in their pursuit of creating art. So, oh my God, I love the public lending rights. I do a little dance every February when I get my check. And word to the wise, if you are a Canadian author and you have never heard of this before, look it up. Sign up for it. Trust me. Trust me, you'll like it. It's not huge amounts of money. It's not going to pay off your student debt like that. But every little bit helps, of course. So, now we're up to the part of the video where you say, but JM, how do I get your book into libraries? Well, first off, you asking for the book is much better than me asking for the book. If I go into a library and say, hey baby, I'm a local author, do you want to stock my books? It looks a little bit self-serving. It looks a little bit desperate. And I'm not saying that people will push me aside because of it, but the public asking for a book and an author asking a library to shelve their books are two entirely different sorts of requests. You are the public and you are demanding, and that carries more seriousness and more weight than me as an author saying, hey, I'm amazing, please stock my stuff, yay! So how can you request your local library to stock copies of my books? Well, the number one way would be to ask. I would suggest going to my website or the website of your favorite author or the Amazon profile of your favorite author and printing out all the metadata information about their books. For example, here's triptych, here's the year it was published, here's the ISBN number, here's how much it is, here's the reviews, here's everything. That is a nice stack of information that says to the librarian everything that they need to know. It gives the librarian all the information they need to have to be able to, A, determine whether or not this is a book they'd like to shelve, and B, how to look it up in their in their library catalog ordering systems. Because, of course, libraries don't just buy books from the bookstore. They have a special catalog that they order books from. Now, sometimes books are available in the catalog, sometimes they're not. I'm mostly published with small independent publishing companies, and their books don't always populate into the levels of library catalogs. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So having all that information with the ISBN number and the publisher's name and the page number and all of that will help the publisher find the book will help the librarian find the book from their ordering system, or if they have to do it through a local bookstore, find it and request it and order it from the local bookstore. The other way, so if you're not comfortable going in person and having a chat with your librarian, which again is the number one way to do it, because of course what's going to happen is the librarian is going to say, ooh, why? And then you get to go, oh my God, I love this book because, I love this author because, and you get to have an amazing conversation with the librarian. And the librarian will hopefully catch your passion and understand why you love it. And you might just walk out of there with some other books, because the librarian might say, ooh, if you love this person, you should read this person as well. So you might actually find some other amazing authors that you would love as well. But if you're not comfortable going in person, and I know some people are not, the other way you can do it is check out your local library's online website. A lot of them have recommend a book to us, or suggest a book, or order a book, or request a book. A lot of them have a form that you can fill out. So then all you have to do is click on that, say, this is the book I want you to get. And again, if the form doesn't ask for things like ISBN number, publisher, page number, and all that, put that information into your request email. Just head over to Amazon, copy it from the Amazon profile, put it into your email, paste, send, done! And if you don't want to do that, you can also send a physical letter to your local library or have a phone call with your local librarian. So lots of ways to do that. If you really want to, you can also donate a copy of the book to the library. So I know some people who will buy a copy of the book, read it, and then donate the books to their local libraries because they don't want to have the clutter in their house, or they just read so much there's no way they could possibly find space for all the books they read, or they do it because they fully intend to donate to the library at the end. They buy the book for themselves, they read it, and then they donate it to the library. I just want to put a caveat out and say contact your local library and ask if they accept donations before you show up with them. Some libraries are allowed to accept donations. Some libraries are not allowed to accept donations. Please check their website or call them or send them an email or show up in person and ask. Ask them if they can take donations before you show up with a box of donations. And yeah, that's kind of it. Sorry, I was checking my notes and I think I went through everything. So that is why libraries are important. Number one, we want people to read our books. More than anything else, we want people to read our books. Number two, having our books in the library means that we can get a public lending rights check. Yay! And number three, that's kind of it. Anyway, I love libraries. I know we all love libraries. Thank you for listening to how to get an author's book in the library and why libraries are important to authors. And I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to have a sip of wine and bid you good evening, Internet.